In my book, Clash or Complement of Cultures, I dedicated one full chapter to our blind spots. I think it's self-evident that all humans have blind spots. My opinion is that our blind spots are huge. And so one of the results of those blind spots, if we don't acknowledge them and don't factor them in, is that we'll start putting the cart before the horse, as we're doing right now. There's a great book that was written by a Stanford historian, Walter Scheidel, called The Great Leveler. He did intense research on how these crises are recurrent throughout human history. He went back quite a bit to prehistoric times, to the Stone Age, and found that every time humans exercise too much inequality on the masses of humanity, we have a great impact on what happens when we throw things out of balance. Scheidel refers to the fourth horseman of leveling the earth back to semi-normal: mass mobilization, warfare, transformative revolutions, state collapse, and catastrophic plagues, which eventually destroy the fortunes of the rich. Vaclav Smith, in one of his books, complains that economists haven't grasped the synergistic functioning of civilization and the biosphere, yet they maintain a monopoly on supplying their physically impossible narratives of continuing growth that guide decisions made by national governments and companies. As far as human resources, there's a very famous historian, Yuval Noah Harari, whose books have been selling more than 20 million copies. He was invited to speak to the world's leadership in Davos, Switzerland. Also advises us not to worry too much about human resources. Why? The outcome of humans learning to engineer bodies, brains, and minds will be the main product of the economy of the 21st century, he says. Over the past century, humankind has managed to do the impossible. Famine, plague, and war have been transformed from incomprehensible and uncontrollable forces of nature into manageable challenges. You know, I really wonder what world he's living in when he dares say that to the global leadership. He said, humankind will turn itself into God. He wrote a book called Homo Deus, that there are no gods in the universe, no nations, no money, no human rights, no laws, and no justice outside the common imagination of human beings. So that is the hubris, the arrogance that we're facing. Reductionism and positivism have relegated religion, the arts, and then the social sciences to what are condescendingly considered to be soft values, not to be taken very seriously, if at all. So the humanities have increasingly been disregarded. I avoid trying to focus on tactical measures and on symptoms, because I think that's part of the strategy to lead us astray. Everybody's so mired in the thousands of things that are going wrong that they're totally confused. I mean, children are actually committing suicide in unprecedented numbers because they're confused. So this thing that the best and the brightest should lead us in the right direction is something that I totally disagree with. We have to realize that helping one another, the common good, is not a burden. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to help one another because we are the greatest assets available to us. And we sacrifice both human beings and natural resources so that a few might be more powerful and wealthy. It doesn't make any sense that everything is interdependent. You know, that little bit natural sciences has proven. Now we have to understand that human beings are interdependent, that the natural ecosystems are interdependent, is that it's not science that determines our long-term survival, but the ability to communicate with each other and to work together